and you find trying to come out and show you like we're a little bit different, right? We're supposed to be projecting different, right? You get to tell people who you are. And you don't have to act from that child. You don't have to act from that reacting to me like this. Why isn't this working out for me? All these things that you silently suffer. Hey, we're not working together, right? Hey guys, Carly's here with a piece of mind, the Chakra Box and the Shadow Box podcast. So today I'm just getting on here to encourage you guys to sign up for the Shadow Work workshop that is being held on November 22nd from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I really want you guys to hone in on this so that you can get a better grasp of yourself, get a better grasp of how you are showing up in your workplace, how you're showing up in your relationships, and even how you're showing up with yourself, right? And your shadow is a whole lot about your ego, right? Ego tells you what to do. Ego usually runs a person's life, right? But when you are able to control your ego, when you're able to manage yourself without your ego managing you, or people having to manage you because your ego is out of control, when you're able to do that, that's when you can really take control of your life. And this is having the correct dialogue with yourself, knowing how to observe your behaviors, knowing how to observe your thought processing when you are in certain situations. Usually, your ego would like to project itself out and raise itself up when it feels threatened. And a lot of the times, people don't understand that this projection of ego, this shadow, it shows up in places where you hold authority, in places that in places and with people that kind of depend on you to lead, right? And so when you are leading from a place of ego, when you are leading from a place of insecurity, when you are leading from a place of conditioning, you are affecting your credibility. You are affecting your the people who are depending on you to guide them with, I wouldn't say necessarily with a soft hand, but with a trustworthy hand, with a hand that leads them into fruition, not for your own doing and your own deeds, but in order to feed who they are, to feed their calling, to feed their purpose, to feed their the tasks that they are supposed to be doing, right? And we're talking about in the workplace. And so, if you can learn to lead a person so that they can show up as their best selves in the workplace, in the task that they are doing, they will trust you to know that your motives are correct. When you're coming from a place of shadow, when you're coming from a place of ego, your motives are usually self driven. They're usually for you to win and not necessarily for the other person to win. Or the other person needs to make you look good so that your ego can be fulfilled, because this is coming from an aspect of your shadow of not being good enough or needing to be perfect, having that perfection syndrome thing going on, right? And so, the shadow working is not all about the traumas that you've had as a child in your childhood. Your shadow is also coming from generational things as well. Things that have been passed down to you that you're unaware that you act out because it's just innately in you. But when we have these things that are innately in us, we are acting out of it's like a knee jerk reaction. We're acting out of a pattern that used to be so how many hundreds of years ago of survival, and we it has passed down through our DNA, and this is just the way that we are because this is the way that our ancestors survived, and we adopt these things as in a part of our everyday lives because we don't know any better, right? So if you're wondering why you're always in survival mode and you're having a hard time kind of coming down and living your life, it's because this has always been injected and needed, in spaces where our ancestors had to fend for themselves. And so times have changed. And When you feel yourself constantly having a problem with a pattern that you see going on in your life, when you feel yourself feeling like you're always going against the grain, 9 times out of 10, it's your shadow really showing itself to you saying, hey, we're not working together, right? We are having issues because your shadow is supposed to be integrated. That's why we have this integration of the light and the dark. Your shadow are things that have been suppressed, things that have been shunned, things that have been overgeneralized, things that have been put in your mind state to believe about certain things, to believe about yourself in order to control you, in order to put you in a box so that whoever was raising you, whoever was in your atmosphere could better relate to you without having to explain or having to go into deep understanding about who you are, right? And so when you go through your life kind of projecting yourself out of this box, then you kind of come to that question of who am I? And you find yourself again going against that grain and having these issues because your true authentic self is trying to come out and show you like we're a little bit different, right? We're supposed to be projecting different, we're supposed to be acting different, our behavior, our thought process is supposed to be different. How can we work together? You know, which parts of our shadow can actually be taken away, put in a place, compartmentalized, right? And which parts are we supposed to integrate in our everyday life, in our personality, in our behavior, in order to make this work in our favor? So I say all that to say there's a lot that goes on with your shadow. You are your shadow. You are integration. You are light and dark. So when we think about this on a career, in a career mode, when we think about this in relational modes, when we think about this with self-care modes, being a parent, all these things, your shadow is something that needs to be considered, needs to be taken serious, needs to be managed, needs to be taken control of, right? And I always tell anyone who I do shadow work with that, you know, once you're done with me and figuring out your shadow and knowing how to integrate it, knowing which parts to take away, which parts to keep, no one gets to tell you who you are, right? You get to tell people who you are. And you don't have to act from that child. You don't have to act from that conditioning. You get to show up wholeheartedly as your authentic self. I strongly would advise you guys to sign up for this shadow work workshop. You will gain tools to understand how to utilize certain parts of your shadow. You will gain an understanding of the root of your shadow. You will gain an understanding of how important your authenticity is as you show up in this world and as you go into your purpose. Your shadow has a lot to do with your purpose, and a lot of people miss this because they're too busy reacting from a conditioned part of them. Signing up for the workshop will get you into awareness. It will get you to acknowledging some things that you may not like about yourself, but that you think about and that you ruminate on all the time as to why am I like this? Why are people reacting to me like this? Why isn't this working out for me? All these things that you silently suffer through and you can overcome and manage by integrating your shadows, your subconscious into your conscious to make sure that you are intentionally showing up in every space of your life. So if you're interested, you can copy and paste the link below or go to the link below and we will get you registered. And yes, there is a small fee in there, but it's all worth it, right? Invest in yourself, invest in your mind, invest in your life, right? And so I hope to see you guys on the other side of this. You guys have 11 days. Today is 11/11. You have 11 days to go ahead and get yourself registered for the shadow working workshop. And we will be, you know, we'll see each other's faces. We will have interaction. We will have conversation. This will be an intimate space where people are sharing things about their lives And it's because we just want to get there, right? So I think this is really going to be good, and I would love for you guys to participate. If you have any questions, you can always message me, and I will get back to you with anything I can. I am a grief and shadow work, I'm sorry, a grief and trauma coach and a shadow work guide. So I definitely have the experience and the footwork, so to speak, to guide you guys through this and give you the tools that you need to start on your shadow work journey. So again, I am Carlise, and I will hopefully see you guys on the other side. Namaste.